You ever notice a particular irony at work? The people who start feeling a real sense of danger, they're rarely the ones hiding in the shadows. No, it's usually the stars, the ones who've been publicly praised, whose names get mentioned in all-hands meetings, who live in the team spotlight. They haven't gotten worse. They might be better than ever. But the system's perception of them has shifted. Fundamentally, when visibility shifts from being a reward to a source of constant evaluation, suddenly you're no longer the star. You're the benchmark. And in the eyes of the system, every move you make becomes an opportunity for evaluation. Stay with me to understand why this transformation could be your career's silent killer. All right, pause. Think about this, or remember it. After you, or someone you know, gets that company-wide recognition, becomes the official poster child for performance, you might think it's all upward from there, but here's the truth nobody talks about. Let's break it down. A, they get more resources fast-tracked to the top. B, they feel this intangible pressure, where even a small dip is suddenly noticeable. C, the office politics get weird. There are these new unspoken duties, the informal responsibilities. Drop what you've seen in the comments. In this video, we'll decode why being seen is often not a safe harbor. It's a point of no return. Let's break down how the spotlight becomes a cage. First, how visibility turns you from an outline into a high-resolution sample. Meet Emma, star data analyst at a London consulting firm. The CEO singles her out in a company meeting, solves a huge client issue. Her face is on the internal newsletter. Before this, Emma's performance was an overall excellent sketch. After, she became a high-res sample for the entire company. Her project pace, how often she spoke up, even her email response times, they were all, often without anyone meaning to, placed under a finer lens. The system and the managers in it started unconsciously using her as the benchmark. Her excellence stopped being a state. It became a persistent, visible expectation. A project debrief that was just fine, solid, but not her personal best. It now attracted a level of scrutiny it never would have before. If you've ever felt that after being recognized, just being average feels like a failure, type resolution below. Second, the solidification of the standard, why you're no longer allowed to be human. As visibility goes up, your role in the system changes. You stop being just a producer. You become a living measuring stick, a risk reference point. Systems love stability, predictability. A highly visible, high-performing you gives the system a perfect stability anchor. So any fluctuation from you, whether it's taking a break, experimenting, or just a normal off week, isn't seen as personal anymore. It's read as a potential wobble in the system's own stability signal. In New York finance, once a top trader is held up as the exemplar, their daily P&L gets scrutinized 10 times more. A routine loss triggers a risk review that never would have happened before. The visibility didn't give them protection. It erased their buffer of ambiguity. Third, the quiet centralization of blame and the death of error tolerance. Visibility doesn't spread responsibility, it secretly centralizes it. Driven by capable shoulders bear more and you're the reliable one, all the ambiguous tasks, the cross-team coordination, even team morale, it all drifts towards the most visible person. But here's the critical part. Your margin for error is systematically dismantled. Systems have a much lower tolerance for mistakes from critical nodes than from ordinary ones. It's like how every flaw from a famous brand makes headlines, while the same flaw from a no-name brand is just noise. The better you perform, the more the system locks you into that peak. But what happens when you slip? What if you're human after all and can't always be perfect? The consequences are worse than you think. Let me show you why. You lose the right to fail quietly, dust yourself off, and try again. Your failures are now public property. None of this is an accident. It's systemic geometry. The ancient strategist Han Feizi, talking about the alignment of form and name, hit the core of this. He said roughly, when the ruler makes his standards clearly visible, his subordinates dare not conceal their reality. A modern systems language translation, visibility isn't the goal. Precise control achieved through visibility is. When you're thrust into the spotlight, the system begins to model you. Every action, every decision, all tracked and analyzed. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about visibility. There's a deeper layer I need to show you before you can really understand the cost of this spotlight. This isn't malice. It's the system's instinct to reduce overall uncertainty. Han Feizi warned that those who stand in the light have their flaws equally illuminated. To the system, a fluctuation from a visible star has a far higher risk coefficient than a mistake from an unknown player. Why? Because the star's wobble threatens to destabilize the very standard the system uses to measure everything else. Let's look at a shadow from Silicon Valley. James, product director, industry famous for a breakout hit, conference regular, a public face of the company. After reaching this peak of visibility, James wanted to explore some risky, forward-looking ideas, but he found the company's expectations of him had crystallized. They were incredibly specific and incredibly conservative. Replicate the past success, maintain steady growth metrics, be the stable, optimistic voice for the company. When one of his small experimental projects didn't meet market expectations, it was still reasonable. The internal doubt it generated was far greater than for bigger failures from other directors. Investor Relations asked privately, is James distracted? Could this hurt our core product momentum? His high visibility built an invisible fence around him. It locked him into the successful past and made the cost of trying anything new astronomical. He became a hostage. His strategic flexibility was stripped away by the very spotlight he'd earned. So back to that initial question. If you picked B or C, you're starting to see it. But there's still one more piece to this puzzle. I haven't shown you the most critical part yet. Stick with me to find out how it all fits together. Being seen by the system means you're recategorized from participant to critical node or standard reference point. What follows isn't freedom. It's finer measurement, concentrated blame, stricter error tolerance. The price of visibility is trading your personal flexibility, your room to experiment, for the system's stability and predictability. This completes another layer of the identity trap. We've seen how the flexible generalist, the reliable rock, the expert, the problem solver all get their paths narrowed. The high visibility identity might be the most subtle trap of all. It's the punishment disguised as the ultimate reward, which leads to a natural question, a counter strategy. If high visibility is a burden, should you just lower your profile? Become low maintenance, easy to manage, don't make waves. It sounds like a safe retreat, a sensible exit. But the system's pricing mechanism for that choice is equally ruthless, maybe more so. In our next lecture, the final chapter of this module, will unveil a truth that chills countless diligent professionals to the bone. It's called low maintenance people are easy to ignore. We'll break down why those who don't cause trouble who just quietly get their work done are often systematically overlooked. Why the combination of reliability and low visibility can build the most transparent and most durable ceiling for your growth. If you've ever felt your contributions were taken for granted precisely because you made them too quietly, the next session is your explanation. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're drawing the final conclusions on the architecture of the trap.